Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast or media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, LuckyEevee, Mathmachine, the Shark. Today is our 153rd episode, and we're discussing the 2014 Pokémon The Series XY episode, Coming Back into the Cold. So, let's get things started.
Good lord, what is happening in here? Aurorus Borealis? Aurorus Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the internet, localized entirely in this podcast. Yes. I see it? Yeah, just keep listening.
Perfect. Well, we have to get that out of the way right away. Go ahead, Angron.
Yep, speaking of getting stuff out of the way, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all to me, Pokemon. Yeah, I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Yeah, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, gotta catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon. Ah! Yeah, that new theme slaps. Anyway, Shark.
Yeah, it slaps, and it's kind of interesting because even though they have made like different songs with different lyrics for different generations, this one over here did like a remix of the original, so it shows how popular it really was from the very start.
Yes.
Yep. You can definitely tell why they used it too to try and get some of the audience back, and in that way it really does work. So virtually every generation of Pokemon got an anime season based in it, and as the name suggests, this is the one for the XY games. Ash's companions in this generation consisted of Clement, an inventor whose devices never really turned out the way they should, his little sister Bonnie, and Serena, who was a new trainer on her first journey. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, fun fact about Clement, he's also the Lumio City gym leader. So, quite the interesting turn of events from Brock.
Yeah, I was gonna mention like that, like Ash started with 2 gym leader companions and they gave her more here, so kinda seems like it will be like a running thing, but it actually varies per generation and season.
The episode begins with the narrator saying that Ash and his friends are continuing their journey through the Kalos region after witnessing a battle between Grant and Viola, and they find out that Grant is the gym leader. We then cut to Ash training with both Froakie and Fletchling for the next battle. Froakie leaps into the air and does Water Pulse, but Fletchling uses Double Team in order to invade the attack, and one thing to point out here, because we previously talked about this when we did the episode with Ash's Dragonite, the Pokemon battles in this generation, and maybe a little bit earlier, but getting off that, they're really well animated, because when you look at the older generations and it's just Pokemon jumps in front of colored lines, Pokemon does attack, other Pokemon gets hit by attack. It's good, and believe me, it caught kids' imaginations for a reason, but when you actually look at this feels like you're actually watching a real Pokemon battle unfold before your eyes, and it is really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there are a few things about the newer generations that I take gripes with when it comes to moves. Like, I still will forever say that the original Hyper Beam looked a lot better than the new Hyper Beam, personally. But yeah, you feel every impact and movement here, unlike the original ones. Like, not to say the original ones didn't have stellar animation. The battle between Pikachu and Raichu in Tyrannosaurus Gym definitely deserves mentioning for that very reason. But yeah, from gens like 4 and onward, they definitely upped the scale when it comes to battle animations.
Oh, easily. Ash then cheers on Fletchling for evading the attack, then has Froakie use Bubble. As the Pokemon does so, the animation on Bubble in particular looks really neat.
Pocket bubbles!
Yep.
Had to reference that. But Fletchling is then hit by one of the bubbles despite trying to avoid it and falls to the ground. It manages to save itself at the last minute. Ash then praises both of his Pokemons for their good performance as Alexa, the journalist, arrives, as she says it's good to see him again. We then get the theme song, which, as Shark just mentioned, is a remix of the original Kanto-era theme song, and yeah, it actually is a really good remix. It sounds good, and the animation in the intro is unique too, because it shows, I guess, what can only be described as anime-style character cards of all of them, with Team Rocket spying on Ash. Meowth almost falls out of the Meowth balloon, but Jesse and James catches them. Thanks to Wobbuffet, they all fall out, and that actually got a good laugh out of me. I really do like how it shows Ash's bond with his Pokemon. It feels like this is one of the more unique, and honestly probably, aside from, of course, the original, which is iconic for a reason, yeah, it really is well done. I have to admit that much. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, that Wobbuffet always being there's that little extra touch where he pops out where he's like, "Wah! Oh, shit." That just cherry on top of that hilarious Sunday. This is the generation where Ash starts getting more victories than defeats. No joke. This is where, at most, he gets at least 4 losses, but I'm getting ahead of myself, that Ash has ever truly gotten in a place like this, and I 100% am for that. This is the generation that really made me turn around to the anime a bit more. Like, Gen 5 definitely turned me away, which, yeah, for obvious reasons, I'm not looking forward to when we cover that, but yeah, here, it's where Ash started really getting more wins than should honestly be accepted. Like, it came at a few costs, but if it meant that Ash finally gets a step up in the world, then I 100% will take that step.
Yep, I definitely can see why, because again, it's good that Ash finally got some character growth in that, and the way they do it is really well done too. We then get the episode title card, which shows the quartet before finally stopping on Ash. We then get back to the actual episode, where Alexa says that everyone's looking well. She then notices that Serena decided to travel with Ash and the others. Serena then says that so much has happened she made that choice, and she's glad that it did. Now, one thing to point out is just a tiny bit of a tangent here. The dub voice for Serena in Spain is the same voice actress who voices Lisa Simpson, and she uses the Lisa Simpson voice for it, which makes it a very unique watch. Let's put it that way.
Now I cannot hear Serena in anything but that high nasally voice with the spiky hair. Come on, Ash, you know that guy's weak to fire types, and yet you're using a freaking electric type. That's like pitting a gun against a great sword.
Nice, nice. Heliotile plays with Pikachu before Deden arrives and touches Heliotile's tail, startling the lizard. It then crawls at Deden before they fall over. As Pikachu comforts it, the group all continues to play in an adorable moment because Pikachu is always adorable.
He is adorable now, but remember, he was one big shit back in the day. It's kind of funny how that was like, oh, our main mascot when we're gonna make the anime, and our main mascot is going to be like this little shit that's going to ruin everything. And well, it eventually evolved to the nice guy he is today, but kind of funny to think of that.
It's always funny, like I say, and he had so many good little moments back there. Hopefully we'll talk about more of them in the future because it'd be a lot of fun, but Ash then asks Alexa why she's there, as she mentions how he saw Viola at the Battle Chateau. She notes that Viola is strong, but she's still lost to Grant, as we see a flashback of the battle from the previous episode. Alexa then says that Viola does not like losing, as she then says that Viola told her that their next stop is the Silage Gym. One thing to note, and I don't know if it was an error with the dub or with the actual episode, when Alexa is facing away from the camera, the audio quality changes to a lower one. Just for that one shot, it feels like it was recorded in a different location, which is very strange. Alexa then says that she's writing about the Fossil Lab, as Selmont is excited about this. Ash asks about what the Fossil Lab is, and, well, it's obvious why he doesn't know what it is. He never got to see the one on Cinnabar Island. He was too busy solving Blaine's stupid riddles.
Yeah, screw that guy for that.
Clement then explains that it's a famous facility, before he then explains what a fossil is to his little sister. He says that researchers go there to study Pokemon from ancient times, as Bonnie frowns and says, "That sounds complicated," and her face here actually is a really funny one. It got a little chuckle out of me. So good job on that, animators.
Easy explanation for what a fossil is. A Gen 1er.
Oh.
Shots fired.
Alexa then says that they made a big discovery there, as Ash wonders what it is. Alexa then invites all of them to come along, as they're all excited except for Serena. She thinks that fossils are, quote, like bones and stuff, and she wonders what the big deal is. And I will say this, Serena, you will fit right in the Jurassic World universe, because they don't care about dinosaurs either.
I mean, she turned around eventually, but...
In another funny moment, Clement then tells her that fossils are filled with both fun and science, as he looms over her with a very intense grin, and Serena looks bemused by this. And another really good gag, let me say. I'm actually surprised at how funny, not just, of course, Team Rocket is, but how they made the main quartet really funny as well. I mean, they're not as good as Ash, Brock, and Misty, because who is, but they really are such fun characters. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, on the comment about fossils being fun and science, I think Blathers will agree. He really loves talking about them.
That too. We then cut to the fossil lab where the group is created by Thaddeus, the head researcher. The group then all introduce themselves to him as they go inside, and we then cut to a nearby bush where Team Rocket is currently hiding inside of it. Jesse and James note how a big discovery can be useful for them as Meowth cheers on that, "We'll be at the top of the heap" with it. And one thing to point out, by this time the characters were recasted, which James and Meowth sound a little off, but the voice actress they got to replace Rachel Lewis as Jessie, she sounds dead on. It is amazing just how much she sounds like the original English language voice of Jessie. That is a really good casting right there. Oh, go ahead, Math.
Took us about 4 minutes, but I'm glad to see the main character of the show finally arrived.
Very true, very true. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I also like new voices they got for Meowth and James. They're voiced by the same person, and yet you could not entirely tell that from hearing them speak. Like, Meowth sounds a lot more grungy and more like Bostoner, which absolutely mad props. Also, James, and honestly, every time I hear him now, I think of Professor Oak, who is also voiced by the same guy who voices James, and it's honestly hilarious.
Jesse then sends in a drone camera to follow the group into the fossil lab, and I have to say this, damn, Team Rocket actually got money now. I remember in the original series, they were practically scavenging for food, and now they can afford drones.
Yeah, that's the one good thing that came from their Unova excursions.
We then cut to inside the fossil lab as Clement looks over the fossils in amazement, with Ash and Pikachu also being impressed. Bonnie sees an Aerodactyl skeleton and remarks how big it is to Deden, who hides in fear. Serena, meanwhile, just frowns and notes how they all just look like rocks to her. Ash then asks Alexa if the discovery is here, as she says that it isn't, but it's even more amazing. Ash and Pikachu stare in confusion at each other over this. We then cut to the group standing by lockers as Thaddeus has them all put on heavy winter coats to Ash's confusion. We then cut to the group entering a snow-filled room as they wonder what this place is and why it is so cold. Pikachu, of course, says Pika, which translates to, "It's a vast swirling wonderland of sparkling white pleasure. Let it fill your senses with cascading fluffy pillows of excitement and comfort as you've never felt before." But of course, nobody understood him.
I mean, except for Dedenne, because, yeah, they're pretty much the same. But, yeah, I also like the little touch of Dedenne shivering when Bonnie asked him if he's all right and just goes back into her coat. Weak stats aside, Dedenne is really cute.
Adding to the joke Luke added here, it was just Pikachu reading the back part of a Pokemon candy envelope.
Thaddeus explains that the cold is for the Pokemon's comfort as Ash runs off but then trips on the snow and falls. We then see a small lizard Pokemon appear and nuzzle against Ash as he remarks that it's cold before leaping up and wondering what it is. Pikachu also being curious about the new Pokemon is just absolutely adorable. I love that little character touch. They really gave Pikachu so much character. I mean, he's the mascot, but still, they really did a great job with him. And another cute reference, Ash actually says, "Who's that Pokemon?" to the Pokemon, which that got a good chuckle out of me. Clement arrives and explains that it's Amaura, a Pokemon thought to have lived in a prehistoric ice age. Thaddeus remarks about how smart Clement is before he explains that they had been extinct for a very long time. Suddenly, we get to hear a loud thumping noise as Serena wonders what it's from and panics. The giant creature turns out to be Aurorus, Amaura's mother, as it lets out a cry, and this is the reason we are discussing this, because it is outright said that Aurorus is female, as Amaura calls her mama several times. So we have official confirmation that this is female, and we're glad that it is, because this is one of the best new Pokemon designs, I wanted to say, in a very, very long time. She looks fantastic. She's a large sauropod-looking Pokemon with blue scales and eyes, as well as a set of basically whitish, yellowish sails on its neck. Her body is covered in ice crystals, and Amaura looks like a much smaller and paler version of her without the head fronds. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
So, yeah, at many points she's referred as Mama, so I guess she's Mama Aurorus. Ha!
Nice.
Yeah, Aurorus is quite possibly the best looking fossil and ice type. Like, say what you will about Pokemon like Kabutops and Armaldo, but this right here is quite possibly not only the first ever sauropod Pokemon that we've ever gotten, like actual sauropod. Like, yeah, there's Meganium, but Aurorus is an actual fossil Pokemon. But it is just so damn graceful. As you said, the sails make it look cute. It's the Aurora Pokemon, which I love Auroras. If you touch the crystals in Pokemon Ami, you'll freeze your hand, which is a very nice touch. But yes, there's just so much to love with this Pokemon, and I handily name it one of the best ice types and probably the best fossil Pokemon, second only to Tyrantrum, which is a T-Rex.
Bonnie notes that Aurorus is huge, which she certainly is, especially in the back, but we'll get to more of that in a moment. Haha.
Yes.
Clement, meanwhile, notes that both of them are alive, which I guess he just became Captain Obvious there for a minute, as Serena says that's really the big discovery and excitement. Alexa films both of the Pokemon as Heptile says hi in a really adorable moment.
Yeah, Helioptile is really cute.
Thaddeus then explains that the fossil labs sent out an expedition that found the remains of them in a glacier to the north. We then cut to an expedition team finding the sail fossil, as Thaddeus says that's how they managed to revive both Aurorus and Amaura. Ash notes that Amaura wants to play as it nuzzles up against him. Thaddeus says that since Aurorus had no known predators, they're docile and friendly, as he hugs Aurorus. And I really do like that. That is such clever writing there that usually when they do prehistoric Pokemon, they're usually depicted as being the villains or at least dangerous in a way. So it's nice that they have one that's just chill, you know?
It is cute, but again, the fact that they mention predators pretty much confirm it. Some Pokemon do eat each other, apparently.
Have the ice type be chill, you say?
Nice. Wah, wah, wah. Ash then continues to nuzzle Amaura, as Clement says they couldn't have learned just that from a fossil. Thaddeus says that by observing them, they may get to know more about many other ancient Pokemon too. Serena and Clement also hug Amaura, as Alexa asks Thaddeus what else they have learned. Unbeknownst to all of them, the drone is filming all of this, as Jesse and James says that having a revived Pokemon like that would be handy, as Meowth suggests that they steal them both.
Honestly, I miss these sort of bits that Team Rocket do where they're like, imagine a boss in so-and-so scenario. Now I'm imagining them, imagine the boss on a hot summer day. The sun shining, blistering down upon his skin. Basically, the whole gist is that Giovanni has his own frozen version of Jurassic Park where it's just Amoris making a snowfield and he's just having fun with them.
We then cut to Ash, Bonnie, and Clement having a snowball fight with Amaura, who at first looks confused and then starts to playfully chase them. Serena says that she feels cold, as Ash says that he's warm, with Serena turning away and saying it's because he's been running around all the time. Alexa points out that they've been in there for a while, as Bonnie doesn't want to leave as she's been too busy having fun with Amaura. Clement adds that they don't want Den to get a cold, as she says that they'll play with Amaura later. Amaura looks sad at them leaving, as we then cut to... Again, they really do give Amaura personality too, and Aurorus as well, which we'll get to in a little bit, but... It is really neat they do that with the Pokemon of the day because a lot of times it's just so generic, and I really do like when they give them more to do here. We then cut to Team Rocket outside as James notes that the twerps have thrown the coop, as Team Rocket then goes to the door and uses laser guns to blast it open. We then cut to Who's That Pokemon, which, number one, feels really early for the episode to do this. It's not even at the halfway point, and we're doing Who's That Pokemon, which feels kind of weird. Number two is that the Pokemon Who's That Pokemon turns out to be Amaura, which might be the first time that the Pokemon on Who's That Pokemon was one that was relevant to the episode and the podcast, because the Lugia one was Executor for some reason. So try to figure that one out. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I am so glad they used the baby version for that because my stupid ass brain went, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, who's that Pokemon? That's Amaura.
Okay, that's funny. Yeah, also, there are other episodes in the Gen 6 anime and a few others that actually have the Pokemon from said episode. But yeah, this is definitely one of those that feels a lot more fitting than the others, especially given what we're talking about.
We then cut back to the fossil lab with Team Rocket broke in there. James and Meowth complain about being cold, with the latter saying that his whiskers are frozen. And of course, James is, I'm so cold, I'm shivering! Jessie tells them to deal with it as she then comes across Amaura, which is a really clever reference because much earlier on in the series, we find out Jessie's backstory where she was completely impoverished and lived on the side of a cold mountain. So, of course she'd be used to the cold. That is really clever writing.
Yeah, I was honestly about to say, like, Jesse, you have little room to yell at them, especially since you're in shorts and have a midriff. Like, come on, girl, at least feel some kind of cold.
She then approaches Amaura and tells it to come and play with them, and it being Babby, it of course gets very excited about this and follows them. They lead it outside to a truck and lock it inside, which, one thing I do have to point out, missed opportunity here. You could have had Mew hiding under that truck to save the day, but of course they did not think that ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aurorus never teached him about stranger danger nor free candy vans, so...
That too. But I do like this moment that Aurorus notices something is wrong literally as soon as Amaura is put inside the cage. It really shows up the bond they have between each other, which is really adorable. Jesse then tells James and Meowth to go get Aurorus as they all go back into the fossil lab. Aurorus then approaches them and chirps, as Meowth then begins to channel his inner Mr. Freeze and says, "Hey, chill, it's all cool."
They cool.
He then tells her that they'll take her to a place where life is beautiful all the time, as James says that she can trust them no matter what. Meowth and James then try pushing her out of there, but she is so big that she doesn't budge, and one thing to point out, James is touching her butt in this scene, so there you go.
Yeah, also, every time I heard Meow say, "My life is beautiful all the time," it reminded me of that one song where it's like, "They're coming to take me away, haha, they're coming to take me away, haha, ho ho, hee hee, to the funny farm," which they most certainly are not for Aurorus, but might as well be with how they're telling it.
We then cut to Jessie telling them to hurry up, as Meowth and James tell her that Aurorus is refusing to move. Amaura calls out for its mama, which causes her to start to freak out and screech, going so far as to have her raise up on her hind legs and thrash around. A group of researchers then arrive and yell at Team Rocket, with James and Meowth then fleeing in the truck. Jesse tells them to look on the bright side as they still have Amaura as they drive off. Aurorus tries to run out of the building as the researchers say that she has to stay there, which we'll find out just how determined she is in a little bit. Ash and the others then arrive as one of the researchers tells them that someone took Amaura off in a truck. The group is shocked as Thaddeus says that they have to get Amaura back as soon as possible. He says that this is because it can't stand warm temperatures and that it can keep itself cool for some time with its own natural air, but if kept in the heat too long, it will get weaker and weaker and then perish, which really is some big stakes.
Yeah, those are some pretty high stakes right there. Like, granted, stuff like Jurassic Park do the stake stuff a little bit better, but here, you definitely feel the urgency, even if it's not as strong as other dinosaur-related stuff. Child's in trouble, Mama got touched in the butt, so Mama's got a little bit of an axe to grind with Team Rocket.
Bonnie then says that they have to save Amaura, as Thaddeus says that they have no idea of knowing just where it went. We then cut to the truck as Amaura sends out a psychic link to its mother, causing Aurorus to roar again and leave the building. We then see how thick she really is because, much like Gala from Dragon Hill, her butt is so big that it actually barely fits through the hole that Team Rocket carved in the building.
Yeah.
Yep, she's a big one.
That is not telekinesis. That is Amaura generating an aurora for Aurorus to see. SOS. Go save the baby.
When she's outside, Ash then asks her what she's doing there. Aurorus then roars as an aurora appears in the sky, and we know what's gonna happen then. Seymour! Team Rocket is stealing Amaura! No, Mother, it's just the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Thaddeus notes that Amaura is creating that, and when it cries, it creates an aurora. Clement then understands that Amaura is in the direction of the aurora. Aurorus then runs off as Serena notes that Aurorus needs their help. Thaddeus tries telling them it's too dangerous, as Ash and the others says that they'll help, with Alexa running off with them. He tells Thaddeus to get ready for their return as he nods. We then cut to the sun setting as the aurora is still in the sky, with Amaura releasing cold air from the ice crystals on its body to survive, which is such a clever way they animate it, with the ice coming out of it and basically keeping itself cool. Team Rocket is busy gloating about how they're going to get Amaura to the boss before Meowth sneezes. Jesse yells at him to close his mouth while doing that, as Meowth tells him that it's getting chilly in here, as James shivers. And man, if only this was a crossover with Kirby right back at you, because chilly would be a welcome addition. Jessie tells them both to grow up as she turns the heater on the truck. Amaura begins to produce less and less cold air as it curls up and gets sad. We then cut to the group and Aurorus walking along, and one thing I do have to point out, the lighter is doing kind of a weird looking waddle run that it never really does in the rest of the episode, so it makes me wonder if it's like a little bit of a misanimation or something like that, because it really looks kind of funny the way it runs here.
Yeah. Also, to Team Rocket turning on the heater in the car. Way to kill your only means of income, buddies!
Well, they're Team Rocket. They've never been the brightest bunch.
Yeah, even when they try to be.
Yeah, there's the episode with the brainwashing Pokemon that said, I'm afraid idiots are hard to brainwash.
Yeah.
That was a great one. Aurorus then stops and looks at the sky as Ash and Serena notice that the aurora is getting weaker. Clement says since the aurora is getting weaker, that must mean that Amaura is also getting weaker, and that isn't good. Ash then touches Aurorus and tells her that they're going to get back Amaura safely, no matter what. We then cut to the truck driving along before suddenly swerving off the road and crashing into a tree. Youth is wondering what happens as Jessie says that they'll go and look. Amaura, meanwhile, is in the back, curled up and sleeping. It turns out that the truck currently has a flat tire, which they should have listened to that little forklift guy because, as we all know, you need tires, you idiots!
Yep.
Jessie then tells James and Meowth to change it as we cut to Amaura sleeping in the back. You really do feel bad for this little guy. They do such a great job in only 20 minutes of episode. It is so well done.
Yeah, like we said, the stakes are definitely high here, but they definitely also make you feel a bit here. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone who's seen the episode or who's seen this kind of episode before can take a guess as to where this is going, but yeah, for a time, people thought this little Amaura wasn't going to make it.
We then cut to Ash and the others as they are currently stopped by a river, with Alexa noticing that the road stops right there. Ash then asks where the truck went, as Bonnie tearfully says that they have to find Amaura. Aurorus then lifts up her head and lets out a cry that manages to wake up Amaura. As she continues to call out to her child, Bonnie wonders if they can hear each other. Ash and the others talk about how they hope Amaura is okay, as Aurorus then lets out a cry yet again. Amaura manages to wake up as both Ash and Pikachu also beg for it to answer. Looking very weak and tired, Amaura then manages to let out another Aurora. Aurorus is happy to see that her child is okay. Ash says that he's glad to see it alright as well. Then asks how they can cross the river. Here we get a really cool moment from Aurorus, which she does get a lot more to do in this than some other Pokemon, which is really neat. She then roars and shoots out cold air from her crystals, which instantly freezes the lake so they can all run across it.
Jurassic World, where was this? With Blue. Oh, right. She had a kid, and she went full-on mama bear. Beautiful.
Well, at least in Aurorus' case, it does work better. We then cut to Amaura collapsing out of exhaustion as Serena notes that the aurora is currently fading. The group then all manages to run up to the truck as Ash asks who did this. This then of course leads to the iconic Team Rocket motto, with it being done with really good and unique animation, because in the old series it used to be just Jessie and James talking in front of usually different colored backgrounds and that, but here they do a whole animation of like a galaxy and with swirling. It really looks awesome. The animation in this really took a huge bump. True to his character, Wobblefoot gets the last line in the motto. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I really like that the animation department knew exactly who the audience was coming for. For as much as the adventures follow Ash and his crew, there's a reason Team Rocket stayed through the entire fucking series until they changed the whole damn cast. These are, for all intent and purposes, the main characters that we come to see because they are the best parts of any episode.
Except for Gen 5, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, you have to admit that Team Rocket really is beloved because infamously, when they were going to do the Hoenn series of the anime, they had a choice of whether to choose to have Misty be in the show or Team Rocket be in the show. And they made the right choice of having Team Rocket be there because they are just so great. Every single time they're on screen, they are hilarious.
First time hearing about this, and yeah, I agree. The best choice was that.
Ash says that he should have known it was them, as Serena tells them to give back Amaura. Jessie tells them to forget it as it's a very precious Pokemon, and James says that it's going to be put to good use. Ash says that he won't let them as Jessie agrees to a battle. Clement says that they have to do it quickly as there's not that much time. Clement sends out Chespin, while James sends out Inkay. Chespin then uses Pin Missile, which hits Inkay, causing it to scream, and sound a little bit like Tom Kenny in a pretty funny gag.
A little bit.
Serena and Bonnie, meanwhile, are trying to sneak over to the truck but are stopped by Meowth. Serena then sends out Fennekin and has her use Hidden Power, but in a really, really badass moment, Meowth manages to stop it by using Fury Swipes. And by this point, I was just amazed at how badass they managed to make Meowth, because in the earlier seasons, he still was a formidable battler, but he was a lot more of the comedy relief, even amongst the comedy relief. But here they did a really good job with it. Meowth then tells them to give up as a shadow then appears before him. It turns out to be from Aurorus, who merely glances at Meowth and uses Blizzard, freezing him into an ice cube. Alexa and Bonnie manage to open up the truck to see Amaura there weakened. Ash then has Pikachu use Thunderbolt, but Jessie has Wobblefoot use Mirror Coat. Before the attack can hit Pikachu, Aurorus arrives to block the blow with her body. It manages to do no harm to her, as she then uses Blizzard to freeze all of Team Rocket in a giant ice cube. And the fact she was able to tank such an attack with nothing happening to her, let's say this way, her size definitely helped her out there. Meowth then complains about needing his blanket as Wobblefoot screams. Ash then has Pikachu use Thunderbolt, which manages to launch Team Rocket into the sky, causing them, of course, to blast off again.
They were given the cold shoulder. It was ice to meet them. You know what killed the Team Rocket? The ice dinosaur.
Amaura then leaves the truck bed before fainting, as Alexa then notes that its temperature is far too high. Ash and Clement arrive to see it weakened, as Alexa then says they have to get it back to the lab. However, they don't know if it's actually going to make it. But before that, go ahead, Angron.
Going back to the Team Rocket thing, when they're doing the blasting off again bit, I like the bit where Meowth is just like, let's froze in the boot! Because they're still frozen even when they're getting flung into space.
It also does remind me a little bit of Smash. It turns out that Aurorus just walks over to her child and lays down next to it as Ash asks what's going on. And I do love, it is kind of funny, the unintentionally funny way that Aurorus just walks up to Ash and the others like, step aside, you stupid kids, I got this.
Yep.
Don't worry. I know exactly what to do here. Like, she's completely chill, yes, pun intended, now that her kid is here and she can just go up to her and just cool her child down. This, quite possibly, is one of the best moms in this series.
It turns out that Aurorus is actually using her body temperature to cool Amaura down. After doing this for only a couple of seconds, Amaura is back to being perfectly healthy as it chirps. Which, again, is really just a cool way they could end the episode, haha, pun intended. Aurorus, they really make it almost OP in a way. She can do anything. The heat doesn't affect her at all because of her size. She tanks blows like it's nothing, and she manages to heal her child like that. Are we sure she's not a legendary?
And yet, she's not competitively viable. You win some, you lose some.
What a shame. What a shame. Ash then says how it's amazing that Aurorus could actually do that, as Amaura then stands up and chirps happily again, as Alexa says they should get back to the lab. Thaddeus then arrives in another truck and tells Amaura that it'll be perfectly fine. We then come back to the fossil lab, as Ash and the others are back in the ice room with Aurorus. Amaura then arrives, as Thaddeus says that its body temperature is officially back to normal. Ash and Pikachu note how great that is, as Bonnie says that she's happy Amaura is all better too, with Deden popping its head out to agree. Clement then approaches Amaura, but Amaura ends up running right past him to nuzzle with its mother as they cuddle, in a really adorable moment. Amaura then approaches Ash as it cuddles him, with Ash noting that it's freezing. Bonnie says that she wants to get nuzzled too as it happens, before Amaura does the same with all the others. Ash then says that they should have a snowball fight, as we then cut to Amaura using its head to scoop up snow to throw at them before they all begin to throw snowballs at Amaura. General stupidity and major nonsense will be proud.
Saw it coming.
They continue to play with Amaura, as Alexa notes that it's good to see both Pokemon and people play as they did in the old days, with Aurorus watching on happily. The narrator then returns as we see Bonnie and Amaura sliding while the others all slide together. They all laugh as Aurorus watches over them and smiles. The narration says that the bond between mother and child managed to get Aurorus and Amaura back together at the fossil lab. As it turns to a freeze frame, the narrator finishes the episode by saying that the group can continue with their adventure, so we get the iconic "to be continued." Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Well, Ash and friends, you're all an odd fellows, but I must say, you made a good episode.
And then the fire truck comes. Pokemon XY was considered to be one of the better seasons by fans, mostly due to its good side characters and tone. I really enjoyed this episode immensely. I thought it was really funny. It was really well written. Aurorus is a great Pokemon. The fact that they gave her so much personality in a 22-minute time frame is amazing. There are some of Ash's Pokemon that don't get this much character development, and it is amazing.
Yeah, barring Pokemon like Ash's Dragonite, his Greninja, and a bunch of others, this is one of the few side Pokemon out there that absolutely get way more characters, and it works, absolutely, especially in a generation just like this. Gen 6 remains one of my favorites for a very good reason, especially when it comes to the anime, and this right here proves that.
They really are such fun characters. And again, the side characters I think are the best since Brock and Misty, believe it or not. May was good, Max is good, but if you notice, they had to bring in Brock shortly after. I really did like him, and I like the tone of it as a whole because it feels like it's a great combination between the original Pokemon seasons and the newer ones. This, to me, felt like the perfect blend of it. But that's actually going to lead to the question of the week, which is, what is your favorite Pokemon generation? I'll go first, and mine is probably going to be Gen 3 because that is the first generation that I really got into playing it because I had the Kanto games on Game Boy and of course I watched the anime, but I was at the age where I was so young, I really had no idea what I was doing in Pokemon. I think I just enjoyed walking around and reading the text in that. Gen 2 I liked as well. It had a lot of advancements, especially with the day-night cycle and the color. They did a great job with it, but Gen 3 really feels like such a revelation when you see just how good the GBA Pokemon games look compared to the ones on Game Boy and Game Boy Color. It is a leap that, honestly, I don't think we've gotten from Pokemon since. And not only that, it's a great game. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire are probably some of the best written games. I love the music. Insert trumpets here, ha ha ha. The entire feud between Groudon and Kyogre is really, really great. And, of course, Rayquaza coming in to fix things is also amazing. And, yeah, as a whole, it really introduces so many fun things. It introduces Pokeblocks. It introduced the contests, which are really a lot of fun. A lot of the new Pokemon of Gen 3 became iconic for a reason. Yeah, as a whole, I really, really can see why this is so good. Because, again, not only is it such a leap in terms of graphics and story, they are really fun too. And you can tell that they had a lot of fun with these characters. I love that they actually did something different with the teams. They're doing Team Aqua and Team Magma, which later on led to more advanced ones in the game. And it doesn't really reinvent the wheel, but for what it does a great job. And that's not to say about the anime, which also is a really, really fun season. I have to admit, you have May and Max who are really good characters. They bring back Brock, which is good. And of course, Team Rocket is there, wacky as ever, which always great to see them. I'm really going to say Gen 3 because that's a generation I probably was the most interested in Pokemon because it kind of fell off in popularity with me for a little while. I got back into it later on, but man, it's just something about that. I will always have that memory of playing Pokemon Ruby as a kid, getting it for Christmas and that and playing it. It always will stick with me. It is so much fun. It is such a well-written game, a well-graphic game, everything. It really, really is a good choice. So I'm going to go with Gen 3 for my favorite generation. And Cromwell, would you pick?
All right, it's time for the very rare and not really patent pending top 5 favorite generations. Number 5, Gen 4. I love it to bits, but the only real thing that I really enjoyed was Platinum and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Everything else was pretty all right. I mean, I haven't played Explorers of Sky yet, but yeah, that's just me. Number 4, Gen 9. There are a few bugs here and there that definitely make Gen 9 a little odd, and I haven't played Legend DA yet, but Scarlet was definitely a fun time, that's for sure. Number 3, Gen 2. Oh wait, no, I'll reverse number 4 with Gen 2 and put Gen 9 at number 3. Number 2, Gen 3. I love the Hoenn games as well. Like, I grew up with them and also Fire Red and Leaf Green, and just Hoenn overall is definitely a vibe, and I 100% will stand by for a very long time. But at the same time, it kind of feels a little bit oversaturated. Not too much, but just enough where I can't really put it any higher than number 1. Number 1, Gen 7. On top of the anime, the very interesting experience, and on top of the games just being amazing, like just even the Ultra games are just really amazing experiences, even if they did kind of butcher Lusamine a little bit. Also, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is pretty fun, even if it's a little limited. But yeah, hands down, they did so much in Gen 7 that I can absolutely stand behind. Like, they made so many changes. In fact, this was the one where Ash actually won. Say what you will about the others, Ash got close in Gen 6, but Gen 7 was truly his victory lap. I will absolutely stand by that. Gen 8 afterwards, Def got him bulked up, but this right here, this was the moment where he first won, and it just felt so dang good. So yeah, it's for that reason and the fact that Gen 7 has my favorite lineup of Pokemon. Like, no diss to Hoenn, I will 100% say Swampert is my favorite, but Gen 7 just has the better lineup to me. There are few Pokemon there that I actually hate. I will absolutely say that number 1 is going to be Gen 7, so that's my pick, Gen 7.
Okay, all good. Let's see, Math, what would your pick be for your favorite Pokemon generation?
I mentioned it earlier with the fossil joke. I am that fossil. I am what is referred to among Pokemon circles as a filthy Gen 1er. Always been my favorite generation. I think the largest amount of Pokemon that I like the most come from Gen 1. The anime is at times the best and at times the weakest, so it's sort of a mixed bag, but it's still a good showcase for what the show or what the game series ultimately is. And the main reason why I am a dirty Gen 1er, Bulbasaur. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Number 1 in the Pokédex, number 1 in my heart. Best Pokemon that has ever been made, and he has just never been topped. He is my all-time favorite, and especially Ash's Bulbasaur, who's effectively like one of those Yakuza mob boss kind of characters. He is just great. I love every time that he's in the series. It was a damn shame that he got left at Professor Oak's, and especially now that it's a whole new show entirely, we don't see any of Ash's Pokemon anymore. Sad. But my favorite character in the entire series, and he comes from Gen 1, so it has to be Gen 1 by default.
I can see why, because Gen 1, for all of its faults, it feels like the one that they really put their most heart and effort into, because they had no idea if there'd be a Gen 2, let alone a Gen 7 or 8. It really does feel like they tried so hard with it, and really all of the original 151 are just so iconic at this point. All of them are just really, really great. And I can understand why you picked Bulbasaur, because he is such a top-tier design. Really, all of the original 151 are, with a couple of exceptions, but I can definitely see where you're getting at. So, let's see. Shark, what would your choice be for your favorite Pokemon generation?
Gee, you're talking with the guy that only played 4 main Pokemon games in their life, and 2 of them are Gen 3 and the remake of Gen 3. I wonder which one. But yeah, it has to be Gen 3, because just like you, Lud, it was my first Pokemon game. I really enjoy the music. Trico, the Pokemon I chose, is actually my favorite Pokemon of all time. He's always my number 1. And the music is fine. The whole story with the Team Magma and Team Aqua is like not only interesting, but it became a meme for a reason. Like the leaders being interpreted like this way. Also, the anime episodes were also, finally enough, one of my favorite seasons as well. It introduces a few things that will be used later, like the double battles. It will introduce very cool animations, because you know, in the first 2, since they were more Game Boy Colors, it was just the sprites just shrinking and growing. Gen 3, the one that really started making the world feel more alive, more colorful, more big and all of that. So yeah, I have a soft spot. Like, I played Gen 5 and Gen 7 as well. I really enjoyed Gen 7 too, but still nothing compares to playing Gen 3 for the first time. And I really like the remake as well. It was like visiting childhood once more. And yeah, short answer, simple answer, but that's gonna be it. Gen 3. Pokemon honestly was never really a big hit for me. In fact, if you use its abbreviation, I'm going to think of another franchise, but still, I like Pokemon, and Gen 3 is like my favorite of all of them.
I definitely can see why. So let's see, LuckyEevee, what would your favorite Pokemon generation be?
Definitely 9.
Okay.
Oh, that's good to know.
Scarlet and Violet, ZA, they are so good, and they have just amazing final bosses.
Yeah, that's definitely a reason.
Plus, it introduced 2 of my new favorite megas, Absol Z and Mega Golok. And a third one I can't say because it's spoilers.
Yep, I can definitely see why. So it is time for the patent-pending Dragoness Scale, where we're going to rank Aurorus, and let's see if we start off this new year with the perfect score or not. Let's see. Now, as for me, I'm sorry, she is getting a perfect score. The design is absolutely perfect. The characterization is really, really great. The fact that she actually gets to hold her own in a battle is really something else. This really feels like what we wanted to see in the episode with Lugia and Dr. Namba. This is what we should have had Lugia do, be an actual integral part of the story. because Aurorus gets so much focus. She really, you could say, is the main character of it. They could have just said, oh, Aurorus, you can't leave the lab. You're going to have to stay here. And then she just stays behind. But no, they actually have her take the initiative and help. She helps out Ash and the others by crossing the lake and saves them. And she's the only one who could save her child, which really gives her so much agency. And also, I mean, just top tier design. I'm sorry, even without haha dummy thick and all, but seriously, it is really such a top tier design. I cannot give her anything less than a 10. Let's see, Angron, what would you give her?
Yeah, I'm also giving her a 10. Like, seriously, this is what Blue from Jurassic World should have been. I get why they stuck her as she did. Like, they really dropped the ball in Dominion with her, and I cannot forgive the series for that. That being said, this is honestly better Blue. Like, she's more understanding, she's a lot more patient, and like, when she finally gets to the kid, she's not even unreasonable. She just goes up and takes care of her kid like a good mom should. There's just so much that this Aurorus does, and it's one of the main reasons why it was one of my party members in Pokemon X. Big props to such an amazing Pokemon. And honestly, the only real gripe I have is that she needed to do a little bit more. Wanting more from someone who's already done so much is pretty much speaks volumes to how amazing this Aurorus truly is. So I'm absolutely going to give her a 10 out of 10.
I can easily see why. Let's see, Math, what do you give her?
So for the longest time, I was thinking and stuck on a 7 because I thought that initially, well, first of all, design 5 out of 5, don't change a thing, right there. Every Pokemon generation has effectively their own Milotic, that one Pokemon that is described both in lore and visually as like the most beautiful or the most radiant of that generation, and Aurorus absolutely is that. For visual perspective, I was stuck on a lower score because I thought that it's just gonna be like they're gonna give her a little bit of personality with the whole mother thing, but otherwise it's just gonna be mostly just animalistic character as is typical with Pokemon. So oh well. But the more I watched it and rewatched it, the more I saw just how much actual personality they put into her being the mother, how much care they gave her, how much, without her speaking at all, and this is why I like silent films as well, you can see just the raw emotion and personality and the thoughts and everything going through her head. You know exactly what this character is thinking, is doing, is experiencing, all without her saying a word. And this is why Pokemon is so good sometimes. When they understand how to make these characters work, they're actually really good at this. And because of how much they gave to this character and they actually did it properly, I'm with you guys at a 10.
I definitely can see why, because again, everything you said pretty much just hits the nail on the head there. Let's see, Shark, what would you give her?
Yep, I'm gonna have to keep the train going here with a 10 as well. The design, it's perfect, it's beautiful. And the whole arc, like, yeah, you mentioned it, like, oh, it's just a Lugia arc again. It's like, yes, but better because, yeah, this Pokemon, this mother right here, is actually active in saving their child. So, and it doesn't go on a rampage. Like Lugia would have to, we have to make it trust humans again. No, she knew from the get-go that, no, these humans are fine. These humans deserve to die.
Yes.
So yeah, she's helpful through the whole thing, and it's really friendly, a great personality and all of that. So yeah, 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I just got the mental image of death to all humans who would harm my child. Oh, these humans are okay.
Actually, more like, I think we're gonna have to kill these guys, Ash. Dang.
Exactly.
Perfect. Wow. Let's see, LuckyEevee, what would you give them?
10. She ate my favorite college last night for nothing.
Wow.
Neat.
We are starting off this year on a big bang. We have our 10 out of 10 and our second Pokemon.
Here, I thought it was going to be a big freeze.
Yeah, congratulations to Aurorus for making it onto the 10 out of 10 list. She joins a pretty good group. And, yep, that's going to be it for this week. If you have any questions, or if you want to see Aurorus crossover with Dragonite, you can feel free to email us at FieryDiscourse@outlook.com. Visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/FieryDiscourse. Visit us at Blue Sky Fiery Discourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Fiery Discourse YouTube channel and subscribe to the playlist. Like and hit the bell icon. Leave a comment. Any all comments are appreciated. Next week, we're going to be talking about the 1996 Mighty Ducks episode, Jurassic Puck, which is going to be a lot of fun because we get more of Tim Curry, and we got Tony J with him. So, boy, oh boy, it's
Oh,
going to be
boy.
fun.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
The fact that Disney took a franchise that was just about little kids playing sports and they were like, let's make it about anthropomorphic ducks. I want to give whoever thought of that a raise because that is just so great right there.
Yeah, it's a lot more clever than people give it credit for. Yeah, it bleeds 90s energy, but I am a late 90s person. I absolutely can be all for that.
I'm a mid-90s person, and I'm for that too. So we'll talk about that next week. So until then, thank you all so much for watching, and take care.
Later, y'all.
Bye-bye.
So,
Adios. See you all next week.